Hello, everyone. This is Jill here to give you the Purdue versus Minnesota post-game recap. Final score being Purdue 85, Minnesota 57. Hopefully, you watched the whole game because if you only tuned in for the first half, you would have thought this was going to be a close one. First things first, pre-game commentary, what I was thinking before the game. I would say the biggest thing I was thinking about was it's got to be an aggressive game. We got to show the kind of team that we can be and what we should be moving forward from a consistency standpoint. Got to be aggressive, got to really look tough on offense and defense. And if it's going to be a blowout win, let's show that we have a lot of depth on our team, get the points distributed across team members, and really see some bench players get some solid minutes to, just get some minutes under their belt, feel comfortable with the game, especially in a big time environment like Mackey. So that was what I was thinking about. And I think if you were watching just the first half, you would have thought maybe that's not what's happening right now. And while there were a couple things that I thought went fine for Purdue, and I kind of expect the first half to be just kind of a flow state where we're trying to figure out what the game is going to give us, what we're going to take from the opponent, things like that. There were a lot of things that were not so great. It felt very reminiscent of the team that came on the court during the second half for the Iowa State game. So a little bit of sloppy passes, unnecessary turnovers, missed coverage on defense. So a lot of people had some open shots. We were fortunate enough where they didn't go down. And then a lot of points, I feel like the game just was very choppy because of Minnesota cutting to the basket, getting a pass down the lane, them shooting a layup or hitting a layup, and us fouling. So that slowed the game down. It gave Minnesota a lot of 3-point opportunities on a bucket. And so that kind of took us out of our rhythm, I think. Obviously, in the second half, things turned around for us very quickly. That was really great to see. I would hope that this doesn't have to be a common thread for us to play aggressive the whole time. One thing I will say, though, is Braden Smith throughout the entire game did play aggressively and acted like he was, the best player on the court and trying to rally the troops. So I think that was really important. And I think what it came down to in the second half for us to start to see some, efficient things happen and for our offense to get going was stops on defense. When our defense does well, our offense does well. So we just have to make opportunities like that. I also think that we're a team that needs to pass the ball. We need to run an offense, show our depth, and say that every single player that gets the ball could shoot it and score, and give ourselves some open looks and find someone that's open. Another thing that's going to be really key is we've kind of drifted away from our roots of being a ball in the paint type scorer team. I'm not saying that's ever really gone away, but I almost feel like in the past few games, there's been a heavy reliance on our 3-point shooting. And that's great because it's something that can't go away. But I think of us as big university. We have our bigs, we have great rebounders, people that can give us second chance points, things like that. Let's just throw it in the paint, see if we can create an opportunity for us to get a nice bucket that's, 3 feet from the basket. And if not, then let's shoot it out to the perimeter and see if we can get a 3-pointer from there. TKR is an All-American for a reason. He was our highest scorer last year for a reason. And I feel like because we have so many weapons now, he's not getting as many touches or as many looks closer to the paint than he typically does. And maybe it's because he's looking for open players instead and, maybe taking too much time dribbling the ball. But I would just love to see him kind of be more efficient on offense, if that makes sense. His rebounding ability is through the charts now. I would say him, Oscar Clough, Daniel Jacobson, they're really performing well on that front. So very grateful for that and very happy that that's working for us. So if we can also add some scoring abilities, not that TKR had a bad game. I think he had 14 points, 15 points. So this is just me asking for more. I think what this game also shows you is the importance of consistency and just being able to kind of come in, day out, whatever game, whatever opponent we're facing, to give it, our best shot and to be aggressive from the front and to maintain that not just for the first half, but also the second half. So that's something that is going to be important moving forward. That's always the case. And I wouldn't say I was concerned in the first half at all. It felt like there was going to be a momentum shift. It felt like they were a little uncomfortable on the court, to be honest. And I do think I mentioned this before, but when we have really good defense, I think our offense responds with the same energy. We have never been one of the best defensive teams in the country. So if we can be more aggressive there and show a really good capability of getting stops when we need to, and not just running the clock down, having the opponent shoot, miss, and then miss a rebound for them to get it back again and then reset everything. That's going to be key too. Overall stats for this game, I don't think anything's going to fly off the page that looks out of the ordinary. 53% from field, 42% from three, and almost 70% from free throw. I think we left a lot of points on the free throw line, so I'd like to kind of change that a bit. Not a ton, but obviously, we shot 70%. But since we don't get to the free throw line as much as we used to, I think it's important we score those. We out-rebounded Minnesota 46-22. That's pretty great. 9 turnovers, so underneath 10. That's pretty good. I would say there were some sloppy passes and weird things, like Fletcher traveled. I don't know why he's traveling. Let's stop that, Fletch. As far as player stats go, I don't know if we can really say anything other than Braden Smith's game was phenomenal. And I think he said in a post-game commentary that he can play like this all the time. He's just got to, be a better leader for the team. So if he can play like this all the time, that'd be phenomenal. 15 points, 6 rebounds, 12 assists, 5 steals in a game. And he even had 2 blocks if you want to throw those in there too. I think the steals are a piece of this game that has been missing a little bit from our team. Just having that passion for the defensive end. Trey Kaufman-Renn, 14 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. And then Oscar Clough finishing up our double-doubles with 14 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists. So pretty great to see 3 people in the double-double. We had 5 players with 10 points or more. That's always good to see. One thing I will note too, Omer Meyer's game, I think, is kind of elusive to me. I'm not quite sure how he fits into the team right now. Whenever he comes off the bench as the 2, I think I prefer that to him ever running the point right now, mostly because I feel like when he's catches and shoots as a shooting guard, it feels more natural than if he were to run the ball up. I'm not sure that I'm explaining it very well, and maybe I'm totally off base there, but I think he just needs some more time to really get acclimated to the point guard role here at Purdue, because again, I feel like he's forcing an offense that's not quite there and not quite running plays like Braden would, or finding open looks for teammate to be open. They feel a little bit more forced, and I almost feel like whenever he's ready to pass the ball, I can see exactly who he's passing to it from the screen. I might be totally off base, but that's something that I'm kind of keeping my eye on, because I think he's a good player to come off the bench to give Lawyers some time to rest. But if Lawyer's going to be off the court and Omer is here to, take his place, I think at that time we need him to be a little bit more of a shooting guard than to have him kind of create an offense for himself. He's been a little bit cold shooting wise, so I think he just needs to see more shots go down, and then it will come to him. And to kind of bring back to Fletcher Lawyer, I think we need to see the player we saw in the Bahamas, him being very confident, a little bit cocky, talking back, and being able to talk back the way it matters and by scoring points. For a couple games now, he's been pretty quiet. You can feel that he doesn't have as much energy on the court as he did maybe during Thanksgiving break. So I'd love to see that kind of energy back from him, because I think we all know what he's capable of, and he certainly can perform in really tough games. So Would love to see that translate through here as the season progresses. And it's not like this would be something out of the ordinary. He's done this before. You know, everyone has ups and downs with their shooting game, so we just kind of need to see his playing style level out. Last two comments I'll make on players. Really like Jack Benner and his defense and his ability to rebound the ball. Now I just want to see some of his shots go down because he's obviously a player that Painter likes, that he's really aggressive and can provide some good stops on defense or at least rebounding abilities. So I'd like to see his efficiency on the offensive end really translate. I think he only had 1 point today. He's doing a lot of good things. He just needs to see the ball go through the net. And Liam Murphy. I think this is I think it's time to start bringing him out a little bit earlier outside of the last 6 minutes of the game when we're up by almost 30. Just saying, he seems like he knows what he's doing on the shooting end. So let's see him drop some key buckets here and there just for the funsies. I don't know. But yeah, I could keep rambling. This was an interesting game for me just because I had a lot going on today, so it was a little bit I wasn't extremely focused on the game, but to then watch the second half where we came in with a 20-0 run, that's pretty fun in my book. So I enjoyed that. And I would just love to know your guys' thoughts on the game, what you thought about our players, what you're hoping to see moving forward. We are still very early in the season, so a lot of time to learn and develop and to really hone in our game to lock in for when it really matters. Next up for our games would be Marquette, also back at Mackey Arena. That's going to be on Saturday, December 13th at 1 o'clock. I believe that's Eastern time, maybe Central. If you're in West Lafayette and have some time in the afternoon, would highly recommend going down there to cheer for our Boilers. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.